Hello and welcome to Scale Car Garage. Well, we're actually at the paint workbench, if you want to call it that. Time to paint up those pieces that we cast for the 1/32 scale Cheetah. So let's start with, I guess, something that people have commented about that everyone thinks is, well, a bit odd. And perhaps I'm a bit odd. And my paint bottles here are upside down. Now, this is like this actually for a reason, and let me explain why. Because we're going to be using, let me see if we have gloss white. This is, yes, gloss white. And it's you can see that, it is upside down. Why? Well, let me tell you why. So if you take a look, you'll see that we have, paint is basically a liquid solid. So it's a solid that is dissolved in some sort of solution. In the case of acrylic paint, it's a water-based solution. In the case of enamel paint like this, it's a petroleum-based or mineral spirit solution. So you don't want the solution to evaporate, and that's usually what happens. No matter how much you tighten the top of a paint bottle, even a paint can when you're painting your house, the solution evaporates over time, and all you're left with is the solid. The paint hardens. Well, one way to prevent that from happening is simply put your bottles upside down. Sounds odd, really, but as you can see, the solution is there, and the pigment, or the solid of the paint, is right there as well. So what can you do is you just start shaking it. Shake, 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 shake. Yes. And you can see how, look at this, like new. It's really quite amazing, actually. I really learned this by accident because I actually accidentally put them upside down and noticed how that the bottles that were upside down I can actually open and use again. So you may want to try this. It really does work. I've had this bottle of white paint because, you know, it's not a question of expense. It's just a question of trying to, you know, if you really want to be environmentally friendly, you don't want to throw paint away. You want to try and use it all for the purpose that you purchased it for. So that's all I'm trying to do. And if it helps you in any way, I'm doing this in real time so that you can see how the paint actually, look at this. I don't know if you can see that, but see the paint come back? Can you see that? Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? It really works. Of course, you still want to open the jar or bottle and stir it just to make sure that everything is really well blended for the solution and the pigment. But this is something that really works. So anyway, let me enough of my pontificating of upside down paint bottles. We have the pieces here that we cast for the Cheetah, and we have the driver here that you can see. There we go. Whose head comes off. Oh, look at that. There you go. And we'll have to paint him and all of the other components as well. So we're going to get started with that, and I'll show you what I do to paint figures and the interior and so forth. So let's take it from there, and I hope you enjoy it. Oops, keep forgetting to get my glasses off. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so welcome to the painting portion of the Cheetah build. What I'm going to show you is we're going to paint the driver, of course, as well as the interior. So we did a little bit of prep with the driver, and I'm going to show you what I do, especially with the head of the driver, just to make things a little easier to handle as we're working on it. So let's take a little look at the driver, and we'll take it from there. Okay, here we go. Enough of my talking. Let's get to work here. Hopefully you can see what I've got here. So let's take our parts here, and there is the driver's body, you can see. Okay, And of course the interior that we have to paint as well. But here's the driver's head. Hopefully you have, let me put this stuff back so I can keep it all straight. Hopefully you have something called a pin vise. A pin vise actually is basically just a little hand drill, if you will. And of course it comes with all these little drill bits, and they're really quite tiny. There's some very, very tiny ones, and we're going to need a tiny one here. Let's see what, we'll start off with a very small one here. There we go. And let's see if that is tiny enough. That will work. Okay, so let's begin by putting this very, very delicate drill bit in a pin vise. And all it really is just, it's like a little pen, but it, as you can see, it acts just like a drill in that it has those little brass grippers there that you can hopefully see. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to drill just a little hole in the base of the neck of the driver's head, I should say, excuse me. Let's get that done. And we'll be very careful. Just take your time. Here we go. Taking a look as we go along, that it's in the middle. It looks pretty good. All right, and also not only that it's in the middle, but also that it is perpendicular to the driver's head. In other words, we're drilling a straight hole. All right, and I'll show you why we're doing this in one moment. And you can make it as deep as you like. I'm going to make this one fairly deep. There we go. So hopefully you can see that there is a hole right there. And take a toothpick, just an ordinary toothpick, and press it into, oh my goodness, well, look at that. I actually have to go deeper. What do you know about that? Make it a little deeper. That's all right. You know, a little bit of experimentation. And drill a little deeper. And we'll see how this goes. All right. There we go. And you can see now that the head is a lot easier to hold on to. We have something that we can actually maneuver the head of the driver with so we can paint it. So we're all ready for this. And the other thing that helps too is as we're waiting for it to dry, it's nice to have something to sort of clamp it onto, something like this, so it doesn't have to roll all over the place. So, but we have to paint that first. Okay, so we're ready to paint the head of the driver. Our paint, we're going to do the whites of his eyes, so we're going to use gloss white. Shake, and again, because, there we go, the caps come off, and as you can see, it's actually in really good shape. This bottle is at least 5 years old, easily. And you still have to stir it with a toothpick or something, some sort of stirring implement. There we go. There we go. Don't want to waste any. And keep your toothpick or stir stick, if you will, handy. And I like to place it right there. There we go. Got a double O brush. And our ring. Put a little bit of paint on, and it doesn't take a lot of paint, so you don't want to have a lot of paint on your brush, just want to have a little bit, so you take some of it off. Alrighty, and let's do the eye. There's one. All right, hopefully you saw that. And let's do the eye again, in the other eye. Helps if you hold it upside down for the other eye. Let's make sure you can see that. See if I can turn that on. If that helps. Hopefully that helps. Oh, yeah, it's too bright. Let's see how that looks. Is that better? It's tough to see because it's white on white, but let's see if that will do it. You just take a little bit of white paint and in the eye like so. Just a little bit. Now we're going to do the mouth and lips. That's actually a really interesting thing to do. And the paint I use, it's the only actually Humberall paint that I use. It's actually Humberall, let me see if I can get this color right. 100, I don't know if that's the right color, but it's basically a rust color, if you can see that. And it works really, really well. Let me zoom out and show you. And again, this one was upside down as well. So let's take a stir stick or toothpick, right? And these are like real little paint cans. You actually have to open them up like that with a little screwdriver, which we just did. And let's see how, and you can see how, see there's the solid, right? Just take a little bit of paint on the tip of your 00 brush. That's all you really need. Don't need much. Put that over there. Let's take the driver's head. Oh, that's kind of, you can see we've got his eyes done. And you'll see just where his mouth is. Fill it in with, and I know what you're gonna think. You're gonna think, oh my gosh, looks like a clown. But there's gonna be just enough of this to see that, and that's all you need. That's it. I'll type that for you so you can see. It's just a building process. You start from literally inside out. So we started with the eyes and now the inside of the mouth. And we're going to let that dry and then build from there. Just to show you what we're going to do for the interior, what I've got planned is to do most of it as flat black. I would like the seats to be gloss black. It'll be a lot. There'll be a lot of black, and then just some maybe I guess details that may be different colors. Haven't quite decided which or what the color should be, but certainly around the gear lever area, I think that plate should be some sort of metal, whether it's silver or a gunmetal. But we'll decide on that later. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint everything except for the seats, flat black. Just taking our time. So you can see that. We're going to flow the paint around the seats because we don't want the, if we get a little bit on the seats, that's okay. But if we don't have to get anything on the seats, then we won't. Set that aside and let it dry. Okay, so, no, you can't see me very well. While the interior is drying, let's get to work on the driver, specifically his body. Here, there we go, and his arms. And I'll talk you through what my plan is for him. Let's just zoom in here a little bit. There we go. So, what I've planned is actually a blue Dunlop driving suit for him. And I'm going to show you how to shade his suit in a really easy way. And the first step to do that is to actually use a base of flat gray paint. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take our gray, here we are, some paint on the brush, just a dab, as you can see. Excess off. And we're going to start, and you're just going to do everything. Everything's going to be gray. Okay? Nice light gray, and there we go, everywhere. There we go. See? Lovely coat of gray. You can call it a gray primer if you like, because I suppose that's what it is. But really, it's going to be the basis of the shading, and we'll show you how that works. There he is there. Doing the driver's face, you really don't need that much or that many colors to do it properly. It actually kind of blends on its own, and I'll show you how. And of course, underneath the strap, you see there's actually a helmet strap there. Put a little too much there, but you want to, there you go, you see, under the strap on both sides and the chin. And right now you're thinking, I'm overdoing it. Now, we just have to wait for the paint to dry to get closer to completing the interior, the driver, and the steering wheel. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe.